teacups to your seats so that we can, since we're already running behind schedule, we'd like to catch up. Our next session, Inspiring Story, Internet of Everything for Manufacturing Excellence, will be handled by two speakers. I'd like to begin with inviting our first speaker on stage. Let us put our hands together as I invite Mr. Amit Adnis, President Engineering and India Site Leader, Cisco Systems, as I thank our platinum sponsors for supporting us for today's event. Well, he leads Cisco's focus on innovation, Cisco's engineering strategy, ecosystems, and talent development in the country. He drives the university relations strategy, the employee engagement, and talent development for over 11,000 strong employee workforce in the country. A technology leader for over 22 years. When you look at his smile, you won't believe it. Let's put our hands together as we welcome him on stage.
First of all, I want to begin by thanking the ET team for giving us this privilege to speak at this event, and thank you very much for you to have come all the way. I know that many of you traveled from outside of Delhi to make it here. Thank you. We had some really good presentations earlier to set the context around manufacturing excellence. I come from a networking industry, slightly different from what you typically hear, in the manufacturing world. But with Internet of Everything and Internet of Things, things are really coming together from a manufacturing and networking perspective. And what I want to do is really share with you some of our thoughts in terms of where we see the Internet of Everything playing a role and what opportunities it presents itself in terms of manufacturing going forward. So first of all, let's start with some good news. I think we've heard, since the new government took office, we've heard some really positive statements about the manufacturing potential in India. Now, if you really look at different studies that have been done, including this one, which was done by McKinsey, it basically paints a very, very positive picture, for the manufacturing sector as far as India is concerned. Essentially, it's saying, manufacturing can become 25 to 30% of GDP by 2025. And, it could employ fruitfully 60 to 90 million people in this particular sector. Both of these are very, very important sort of statistics, but in general, we can say that it's a very positive outlook. To do this, though, there are a number of challenges that we will have to overcome, from a manufacturing perspective, and a lot of these are related to manufacturing excellence or operational excellence. Now, this was a study that was done, some time back, which basically categorized, the challenges that we have into a number of these categories. Whether it's factory visibility, plant automation, energy management, proactive maintenance, or connected supply chain. But essentially, if you look at all of these categories, they actually, boil down to one statement that what was made earlier in the presentation by Imai-san, which is when something is not working well, go there and take a look. Okay? I would sort of like to add to that. It is not just enough to take a look, and it is very important to take a look at it. But your ability to get to the root cause quickly depends on how deep visibility do you have into what has actually happened. The second aspect of this is your ability to get to the root cause and fix the root cause quickly also depends on your ability to correlate a number of events that might have happened across maybe different machines in different places, between people and machines, and between people and people. Right? And the earlier you can sort of get that visibility, and the deeper you can get that visibility, the better your ability to sort of fix the root cause very, very quickly. Now let's look at factory visibility. A number of processes that we look at today, when something goes wrong, that data is available. It's not that it's not available. Typically, that data is available after the fact. There's a lot of data available today on spreadsheets. A lot of companies in the manufacturing sector do a fairly good job of analyzing the data, post some event has happened, and are able to, relate to some sort of a root cause. But what differentiates, one company from other from an operational excellence perspective is your ability to look at that data as things are happening more and more in real time, right? The better, the faster you can look at the data, and the more in real time that you can look at the data, better is your ability to sort of improve the processes going forward, get to the root cause and fix the root cause once and for all. A lot of this is about not only the visibility of what's happening at a particular location, but also about correlating that particular visibility between different stages of the processes. Okay? So you need to have deep visibility, but you also need to be able to correlate events across different entities within the manufacturing setup for you to get to the root cause. Visibility and control, obviously the more visibility you have, the better your ability to control the process itself, right? Optimize operations and productivity. Same thing with plant automation. In fact, what we have seen so far is that a lot of technology that gets applied from a manufacturing perspective is related to manufacturing automation, right? We also believe that technology can be applied not just to manufacturing automation, but also to manufacturing excellence. And we'll see some examples of that. And when Tarun talks after me, he will actually give you some absolutely real-time live examples of what we have been able to do here in India with respect to aspects which are not necessarily related to manufacturing automation, but related to manufacturing excellence and process excellence specifically. Energy management and proactive maintenance. Now, energy management is an important thing. Energy is a very, very costly asset. Okay? The more you can optimize your processes, the more you can excel your processes, the better utilization of resources you will have, and energy is going to be a very big sort of resource aspect as far as manufacturing is concerned. Predictive maintenance is about being able to see what's going to happen before it actually happens. Now, in the networking world, we have a fairly cool feature in our products. We deploy these products worldwide in tens of thousands of numbers. We have a feature in our products which is called Smart Call Home. Okay? What it essentially means is that we put in some software in our products which actually monitors what's really happening on the device that's operational. Okay? And depending on what's happening on the device and in the environment, we try to predict what would essentially happen either with this particular device or with this environment. And when we get to a stage where we can predict by correlating a number of events, we actually place a call into our support center for the support center to take a look at it before the event actually happens, right? And it has a tremendous preventive value because typically, if you wait for things to deteriorate, before you place a call to the support center, it's almost always too late, right? The cost of fixing the problem after the problem has occurred is probably 10 to 100 times more than the cost of fixing the problem if you can predict the problem is going to happen and you can fix it before the problem can actually happen. Now, that requires not just visibility of what's going on, but it requires your ability to actually be able to correlate not just what's happening in that instance, but in the ecosystem. Now, this is an example that's absolutely directly applicable to the manufacturing world, especially with Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, with sensor networks. Your ability to sort of correlate events and be able to take preventive actions on the setup is going to be very critical. And last but not the least, visibility is also a factor in supply chain. It's not just where when the product gets manufactured, but it's your ability to visualize what's exactly happening through your raw materials all the way through a supply chain, connecting it with what's happening on the process, on the plant, and then be able to take corrective or correlative actions between supply chain and manufacturing setup will actually define as to how efficient you are from an operations standpoint as an overall organization. Now, these challenges really are sort of fundamental to this aspect that we are trying to build in, which is called Internet of Everything. Now, let me sort of quickly talk about what this is about. Now, if you look at that slide that I showed you earlier, there are certain fundamental things that we are talking about. the first and foremost is things. You are connecting large number of things. You're connecting machines, you're connecting networking equipment, you're connecting visualization equipment, you're connecting things that may be controlling your supply chain, including your transport, including warehouses and things like that. So things is very fundamental to Internet of Everything. Secondly, data, right? Everything is about visibility, right? Imai-san said, go to the place where there is a problem and first see it, right? When you see it, you will be able to sort of rectify it. And when, you may be able to rectify it temporarily, and then you go to the root cause and fix the root cause. Now, how deep can you see, right? The deeper you can see, the better visibility you have, the better your ability to fix the problem. And that's what, deep visualization and data can actually give you, and that's what Internet of Everything actually gives you. The third aspect of this is not just being able to look at data as it comes from one particular location in the overall workflow, but to be able to correlate instances, events, and data from different areas, right? And convert that into process steps, correct? So the other aspect of Internet of Everything is process, and things generating data, getting correlated together towards continuous process and improvement is what Internet of Everything is all about. And last but not the least, people and people's interaction with data and things that are connected is the last aspect of Internet of Everything. And we will see how people play the role in a manufacturing setup from an Internet of Everything perspective. Now, this is a huge opportunity. We have done a number of studies across the globe, but the value at stake, and this is not revenue, but this is the total value that you generate in the system at stake on Internet of Everything is as big as $14 trillion, a huge number, right? The other way of looking at it is today we have a connected world. We have connected a number of things. Your smartphones are connected. Google is coming out with glasses, something like Google Glass, which will be connected to the internet. You have a large number of networking equipment that actually connects your compute systems together across the organization and across the globe. You are manufacturing machines which are connected to each other and to the network. Having done everything about connectivity, we have so far connected only 1% of the things that can actually get connected to the world, right? So we say 99% of the world is still unconnected, and that's where the tremendous potential is. Now, if you really look at it, if you apply this concept of Internet of Everything to a number of sort of categories and industries, this is where you actually get huge value of $14 trillion. Now, breakout of that is asset utilization, supply chain logistics, employee productivity, customer experience and innovation, and all of these are actually related to manufacturing as an industry. Now, if you look at it purely from a manufacturing perspective, 30% of that value at stake is directly in manufacturing, approximately 30%, 27% to be precise. It's somewhere between $3 and $4 trillion worldwide is the value at stake as far as manufacturing is concerned. And then if you look at the categories, again, related categories, asset utilization and supply chain logistics, has almost $4 to $5 trillion of value attached to it from a manufacturing perspective. Now, Internet of Everything is about connecting things together, connecting people, data, process, and things together, right? And that's what actually generates the value. Now, what do you actually see as benefits if you really go to Internet of Everything and be able to connect things maybe on an IP network, right? If you are able to connect devices, sensors, actuators, other manufacturing equipment, together on the network, be able to correlate all of these events, process in a distributed fashion, do big data analytics, right? What does it all sort of mean from a manufacturing perspective? First of all, you get a converged network as far as manufacturing setup is concerned. Today, one of the biggest challenges that we have on a manufacturing floor is that the systems are pretty disparate, and they're not necessarily connected in a very consistent fashion, for you to be able to look at data as the process happens in a very consistent way at the same time, in real time, correct? First and foremost thing that the Internet of Everything will be able to do is to bring together these disparate systems and connect them in a consistent fashion so that you can get the visibility across different parts of the network or different parts of your manufacturing flows in real time and at the same time, right? So converged IP factory network is what we call. Secondly, you will be able to connect a very large number of sensors, actuators, different types of equipment to the same network, I/O machines, and then process and operational controls. Now, essentially what it does is it allows you to correlate activities, right, in real time. As you go through your manufacturing workflow, it's one thing to be able to observe data at a particular point and be able to take a corrective action there. But if you can correlate events that are happening or that have just happened through the supply chain and through the manufacturing workflow, then the value that you generate out of that information is tremendously higher. And I think that's what will machine-to-machine connectivity will be able to give from an Internet of Everything perspective. Machine to people, right? We often see that there are instances, and Tarun will talk about this during the part of the presentation that he will do, that sometimes it is not sufficient for sensors and actuators to just be able to collect the information from the network. You need the operator to be able to interact with the machine in real time and be able to capture the information in real time, right? Today, a lot of operational controls are there, but the visibility controls don't exist. And you will sort of understand exactly what I mean when Tarun sort of gives you an example of how a person on a workfloor, workplace can actually interact with sensors, create value or create information, which can then be translated into process value and for process improvement. Second example is video, right? We have actually worked with a number of ecosystem companies where we are actually using video to not just see what's going on, but use video with data analytics and with event analytics to be able to do tremendous amount of process improvement. One good example is use of video in mining, for example. In mining, we've actually used video effectively to absolutely minimize pilferages in a completely automated fashion. If you talk to the mining industry, or for that matter, even the oil and gas industry, a significant amount of revenue loss happens because of the pilferages during the exploration or during the transportation phase. Now, video in itself will give you the ability to sort of see what's happening, but if you can sort of correlate events that are happening across the mining setup, if you can use video analytics, if you can use pattern recognition as a technology, then you can actually put together a complete solution wherein you will be able to sort of avoid a lot of these pilferages in real time. And that's what Internet of Everything actually brings to the table, right? Its ability to sort of interact with people, with things, get you the deep visibility, and be able to generate the business value. Person to person or people to people. One of the big things that Internet of Everything enables is connectivity. Connectivity enables collaboration, okay? We have offices worldwide, obviously. We have offices in 64 countries in the world. Over past 5 to 7 years, we have significantly reduced our travel cost as well as improved our employee productivity by connecting people up on different collaboration technologies across the globe. Today, we do a number of customer meetings on telepresence as a technology, right? But most importantly, it enables people to interact in real time, okay, across the globe, and that itself enables productivity tremendously. We have engineering teams which are situated here in Bangalore, in India, as well as in Chennai, in Pune, in China, in the US, in Europe. All of these teams are able to interact in real time with people across the globe, and thereby their productivity has improved tremendously. Now, we talked about training earlier in the presentation, how important it is for people to be able to get trained fairly quickly. Collaboration technologies and communication technologies can be very, very effectively utilized to do remote training of workforces. It is also very important to use the same collaboration technologies for operational excellence in other domains, right? We have seen financial data visibility, okay, at a speed at which was never possible 5 to 7 years back, correct? Today we are in a situation where our CFO gets almost a complete report on a daily basis about what's really going on across the globe, across manufacturing, across supply chain, across sales organizations, and that particular data is extremely accurate, and their ability to make, take actions based on that is very, very high. Now, all of this is actually enabled by Internet of Everything. In India itself, the value at stake as far as Internet of Everything is very large. We saw the $14 trillion number for the globe. In India, it's about $500 billion, which is a very, very large value at stake across public sector and private sector enterprises. But if you really look at the categories are very similar, right? It's basically supply chain, logistics, smart factories, time to market, right, as well as operational efficiency and security. These are all the categories in which you will be able to realize this particular value. So the question really is, where are we at this point in time, and what do we really need to do, right? Now, look, if you are to realize that value, you have to concentrate on productivity, infrastructure, and manpower. The current status is that, today, to a large extent in the manufacturing setup in India, especially in the SMB space, most of the workflows are fairly manual. Most of the data that is gathered is fairly manual. Most of the analytics that is done is also fairly manual. The second thing is, this is non-real time, in the sense you actually capture this information post a particular event happening, post the manufacturing output happening, post there being some quality issues and things like that. Secondly, a large number of machinery that is used in India today from a manufacturing standpoint don't necessarily have all the latest and the greatest interfaces that you need from an Internet of Everything perspective, right? Because these are legacy systems which have been operational for a fair amount of time. They have limited amount of automation possibilities. There are limited amount of interfaces for you to be able to visualize as to what's really going on with that particular machine, right? So the ability to do deep data visibility is challenged at this point for a lot of machinery that is used. And last but not the least, the workforce that we have is fairly unskilled still, and will have to be trained further and further to optimize the processes further. Now, this is where I want to bring in one of the ecosystem companies that we have been working with very, very closely, who have done a phenomenal amount of work to address many of these challenges that we are talking about. The name of the company is Coaxys, and the CEO of the company is Tarun Mishra. Now, what we have been able to do with Coaxys, between Coaxys and Cisco, Coaxys has developed a technology where they can actually pretty much go and attach to any machine on a manufacturing floor, be it one of the latest machines or one of the legacy machines, combining the power of being able to attach to a machine, take the large number of parameters from that machine and be able to process that information in real time on the network in a distributed fashion and be able to create business value out of it. Now, unlike in most of the cases where companies use this information for process automation, Tarun's team has done a very interesting job of using the information for economic analysis, right? So they can show you different real-time dashboards to CFOs, to shop floor owners, to CEOs in real time. 12 o'clock today afternoon, what is supposed to be your production status? Which machine is working at a 75% efficiency, okay? And thereby, what is the economic value impact that you are getting to yourself because of the machine working at a 75% or a 60% efficiency? What's going to be that impact by the end of the day if you don't fix it today? This is a level of visibility that we are able to generate because of the technology that Tarun's team has developed, and because of the fact that we are able to bring that technology on the network and make it sort of ubiquitous in a distributed fashion. So Tarun, over to you.
Well, let's really put our hands together and welcome Tarun on stage. And as you will be continuing a few procedures that Sir handed over, let me also take this opportunity to introduce him, and also there'll be an opportunity for all of us to know what he's done in the past. Of course, an entrepreneur in his own way. Let us welcome the founder and CEO of Kavasys Technologies Private Limited. Tarun Mishra is an IIT Mumbai alumni and a seasoned professional with a strong background of analysis, consulting, and strategy building. Thank you so very much for joining us. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to once again invite Mr. Raman on stage. And Sir has a flight to catch, which is why he will not be able to join us so much longer. So may I request both of you to please join us on stage for a photo opportunity and a token of our appreciation. Thank you, Tarun, for your patience. Well, Tarun, you're most welcome to join us in the photo opportunity nevertheless.
Hi.
Thank you, sir, for joining us, and we wish you a very safe journey. Tarun, over to you now.
So good morning. I don't know what's the time now. So first of all, I got a unfair advantage of having multiple introduction, so many lines from Amit and then from her. And but my job is now easier because in first half of the morning, we heard about operation excellence and the essential and the most fundamental theory of operation excellence, from no one else but the guru, Masaki himself. So we are privileged to hear that. Post which we had session from Mr. Grover, then Amit. So my life is now easier. So what I'm going to actually do is, I'm actually going to show the concept that how operation excellence and the technology and the IOE, which Amit just spoke about, how all of them are culminating into one common platform in form of a tool which you can keep in the pocket, and any manufacturing stakeholder, right from the operator to CEO and chairman of the company, can keep it in their pocket to know exactly what is happening across any locations of the plant. They can know what are the business KPIs and why are they the way they are. Where are the inefficiencies, correct? Where am I losing what? So this is what is the actually working model which exists, and not only exists, there are more than 20 implementation already in India, in our geography. So that's what Kavasys has done. So let me start with that, incidentally, it's falling in since aligned with the topic since morning we are talking about. So I do believe that excellence is lived. Most of us perceive excellence, correct? There is a big gap between perceiving excellence and living excellence. That gap could be due to various challenges, operational challenges, financial challenges, aspirational challenges, knowledge challenges. It could be anything, but that's the somewhere we'll have to start living. And how that gap, you would see by end of the presentation in next 10 minutes, can be actually eliminated by using adoption of the technology and the IOE and the IoT and the concept of, an adoption of technology and fusing Kaizen and the best practices and the best method, fuse it with the technology and you put it in your pocket, and how everything changes. Let me ask, because most of us are from manufacturing here, correct? In any manufacturing organization, biggest investment is in the plant and machineries, right? The top management who are sitting anywhere, around 500,000 kilometers away from their plants. Few questions are that, do we know as a management or as a manufacturing stakeholder, do we have idea if I ask a question that, can you tell me that how much value we have lost in last half an hour in one of your location or across all locations put together? Correct? There is no answer as of today. That's the irony which exists, that if we talk about operation excellence, right, any excellence is a pursuit of the excellent financial engine in the place. Why we want to excel operationally, why we want to satisfy customer, it got to be resulting into a value, correct? Otherwise, I mean, just because excelling, I mean, just the pursuit of excellence not resulting into a good value for the company is useless for the business purpose, right? So the whole point is that if I have invested hugely in my plants and machineries, then how come as one of the stakeholder do not know how much value I am losing or how much value I am generating out of it at any given moment? I don't want to know after 3 months. I don't want to know after 1 day. I don't want to know after 24 hours. I want to know now. It's all about now. If I know where my wife is right now, most of us, if I ask you that, tell me in last 30 minutes and last 1 hour you are sitting here, can you tell me that what exactly happened in your plant or in a certain section? You have no answer. But if we tell, can you tell me where exactly is your kid right now and your wife right now? You will have, maybe because you are sitting, chatting, you are already on WhatsApp, Facebook. So that's all about knowing it now. So that's where manufacturing has really lost in terms of how can we get technology inside and have a quick, rapid decision-making platform. So one shift will happen and is going to happen is, of course, operation excellence and the floor operation is very important thing. But floor operation without understanding of floor economics is disaster. And that is where manufacturing will have to learn now, that how our manufacturing floor and everyone standing on the floor have a good understanding about the floor economics. And that's why, very vaguely and casually I say that people says, what do you sell and what do you kind of help? How do you help company others? We say we sell Big Four consulting company in a very small box. Correct? That's the power of Coaxis. That's the power of technologies. And by using that, my operator on the floor will talk a language such as, sir, if we do not do this now, in next half an hour we are going to lose 50,000 of rupee. That's the language our operators talk by using such kind of system. So an excellent floor is, so where is the gap? So gap is that, excellent floor is all about knowing what I got to be measuring, how I have to measure, and when do I have to measure. If the dynamics fail, that's where inefficiency creeps in, that's where financial loss and cost comes in the picture. See, if I know what I have to measure, but I am not doing it at the right time, there is a cost to it. If I know what I have to measure, and I'm doing it at the right time, but I'm applying a wrong method, there is a cost attached to it. So all three has to click at the same time. Hence it's inevitable for us to know right business, right question, right KPI, using a most accurate method, which is a foolproof and complete, and in real time basis. Now, when all three things happen, that's what gives you a perfect decision-making platform. And that is why, the floor, as an example I just shared, that what does it take an operator to talk a language of CEO, not the degree of Harvard and IIT and IIMs. It's all about knowing and understanding what is happening around me in a very, very complete and comprehensive manner. So if it is converted into a tool and operator sees it that, okay, in last 30 minutes, because of A, B, C reasons, this is what I'm losing, job is done, right? Sitting here, I can tell you in the demo, our application is running, so after in the break, maybe you get opportunity to look at it. Sitting here, I can say that one of the plant which is live here since morning, how much money they have lost and what are the top 3 reasons. And this is actual live real-time example which is being played there in the demo booth. Right. So how does it work quickly is, Amit already talked about it. So our system actually can collect data from anything and everything on the floor. Any machines, any drives, any VFDs, any devices, also from the human, also from the videos. We are integrating that every inch of your plant actually is in the vigilance. Actually is mother of data for us. We capture data out of it. All data then accumulated at one place, and that's where all KPIs are generated in real-time basis, not at the end of the shift, not next day, not next. So in real time, I know that my so-and-so plant is running at this efficiency, my asset utilization is this, I'm losing this much of money, my energy consumption has gone 5% above my benchmark level. You know, so every department of the company is knowing the relevant KPIs on the fly. They don't have to wait at the end of the quarter to tell costing team that, you know, this quarter your consumption and your inventory cost was higher. Why cannot I know now? You know? And then, of course, the third important part is sharing. So you collect data, you do real-time analytics in the network in a very distributed way. So we are, for example, you know, with Cisco's networks, we are, you know, our system is fused with the Cisco's backbone, and you know, it's going to create analytics on the fly. And then sharing is very important. So rather than you seeking information, information comes to you. So sitting here, you know, in this room, your tab, your mobile says that, okay, exception. In last half an hour, my asset utilization is dropped by 5%, and the reason is A, B, and C, correct? So the idea is that knowledge has to be commoditized. We are saying that knowledge is not something which only intellectuals and well-educated are. So the knowledge, if does not result into action and convert it into commodity, that even an operator looks at it who is not so literate and say, okay, I'm losing this much, I got to do. Because it's the impact which results into action, it's not the knowledge. So what we have done is that how can we capture the data, convert it into KPIs, convert it into business impacts, share it with everyone right from the bottom to the top. And this is what is happening. So you have a mobile, tab, desktop, on the fly, you will keep getting. I mean, okay, so I will skip this slide. So what is happening that if you have on a very, at the enterprise level, multi-sites, multi-locations, I can have a multi-site analysis happening at the same time, that what is the cumulative loss that's happening. So at the head office, I know that across various sites, how the various relative comparison in the various business KPIs are happening, how my factory A is against factory B, how the product A, which is running at 2 locations, are performing, what are various other matrices, financially most inefficient. Like today, if as a plant head or as a vice president manufacturing or president manufacturing, someone asked me that out of 10 locations, can you tell me that right now in half an hour, last 30 minutes, which location or which section of the location is most inefficient in terms of financial measure, correct? Today, I may not have information. Our system gives you that. So this kind of matrices and KPIs are something which is very, very important going forward, where most of, as you know, in the morning, Guru spoke himself, that it's all about knowing simple things in the most righteous manner so that I can act upon it. Technology and our piece is just becoming enabler. The gap which I spoke about, that what is the gap between perceiving excellence and living excellence is this. And we are trying to solve it by use of making it a tool which is nothing but a technology. It does not require any capital investment. It does not require any degree to understand. Keep that tool like thermometer in your pocket. You know exactly what is happening everywhere, right? The impact, let me share the impact of it. We have seen a plant which was claiming that their asset utilization is almost 90 to 93%, and which have already surpassed the so-called rated capacity, and we can have a separate session on the myth of rated capacity in the manufacturing world. So the plants who are claiming that their rated capacity we have already exceeded, and now we are around 93-94%. In such environment, there was an improvement of in the order of 20 to 25%. I'm not talking about 0.5% or 1%. So you can imagine it's a mix of how the current measurement techniques and plus the scope. One of the examples when you are saying that the best time to do your OEE is when you are expanding. Exactly, and our experience has been bang on, correct? People say, my plant is overloaded, we need to create capacity, there is a huge order. You put this system in less than a month time, it tells you how much hidden capacity is in your plant. Less than a month, and your people, the operator would know, forget the CEO, right? And where exactly is the hidden capacity, and how I can improve upon it. So that's kind of impact it creates. So these are the three, there are many, but the cumulative, if I see that we are doing analysis, so what does it mean to the India manufacturing story? I'm saying, and our research suggests, that today, Amit was also have corroborated, that by 2025, the research report says that Indian manufacturing GDP contribution will be around 25% from today's of 17 or 18%. So we are seeing a 7-8% gap. Out of that 7 and 8%, 1 to 2%, 1.5 to 2% gap can be filled in next 15 to 18 months if such kind of technology is adopted by all manufacturing companies. Without doing anything, it will create the value which is directly adding to GDP by 1.5 to 2%. That's phenomenal, correct? That is something which is mind-blowing, and it has happened. All those companies which have implemented our system, they have seen how it affects them financially, So is this something which is just an improvement tool which will take me to a step further? No. We are seeing that is going to become a very, very strategic intervention for Indian manufacturing environment, because it's building every year we set a goal for ourselves. I'm calling it a static goal. Every year the goal gets revised. So how year on year I improve upon it? How do I have a process adherence which guarantees my quality and the variability is reduced to zero or negligible? Compliances side, we have been in news for good and bad reasons, especially pharma, and the economics and the floor economics, nevertheless, the very important dimensions. Now, unless we have all these four dimensions in a single dynamics and collaborating with each other, we cannot think of a sustainable improvement. So that is precisely this kind of system does. So as I said earlier, that capability building, I cannot expect my operator or floor supervisor to understand the concept of operation excellence in anything less than 5, 6, 9 months. But by giving a tool in hand, now I have just bypassed the whole mechanism. Now I say, okay, you don't have to understand the principle of Kaizen. What you need to do is you understand by not doing it, what is the impact, and just act onto it. And you have all visibility there, so they exactly know that on the machine what's going wrong, why it is going wrong, how it can be rectified, and so on and so forth. So this is what we are saying, that IPF is a strategic framework for any manufacturing company going forward in next 10 to 15 years. Manufacturing floor cannot be imagined without having such kind of system, whether it's a Covaxis or anyone else. But this kind of system has to be inside the plant in order for them to survive and grow and leapfrog in the next generation of manufacturing. Thanks. Thank you. With that note, I will just end.
Tarun, and may I once again request you to give us company on stage for the next couple of minutes, and I'd also like to invite Mr. Raman to join us on stage, and thank Mr. Mishra for having joined us. Or in fact, I'll take this opportunity with you for a photo session. A token of appreciation for you on stage, please. Thank you for joining us once again.